be honest with me. What are you scheming?
I wanted to be unselfish for once. The Order Queen, as she is called.
Oh, we're familiar.
Yeah, she's a wild card. I got that sense that she's somehow holding herself back.
Oh, you could say that. I met this queen. If you think that story's weird, you should hear ours about the gorilla.
You know, part of me really wants to punch you in the face. But the other part of me sympathizes with you.
I am limited on what I can do. I don't care if I have to become the bad guy. Because the truth is, I need you to feel. I need it to be real.
We can't change the past. So the question is, so what are we going to do about our future?
Welcome back, foundlings, to another episode of the Gate Chronicles. This is Chronicle 1, Chapter 84. My name is Emily. I am your game master and host for this series, session, episode, and also the editor that does all the other editing things, because that's what editors do. So, today I'm joined at my table by my two only players. Go ahead and introduce yourselves, boys.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Okay,
Rock,
two
paper,
scissors.
shoot.
Two rocks.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
A paper from Quentin. And he's a rock. Wait, what?
Well, he won, so he chooses.
I chooses.
I chooses?
Yeah, he chooses, yeah.
I chooses. Okay.
Oh, so that means it's me, Jaden, and I play Finavir Avir, a lost merchant trying to find his family and find himself along the way.
Speaking of which, that would be me, Quentin Ott. I play Charles Smoot, 57-year-old biology teacher born and raised in upstate New York, currently trying to not mess up the time-space continuum.
No. Technically, you've already messed it up.
I said trying. I didn't say succeeding.
Technically, you guys messed it up just by existing. It's not even your fault. But
someone else messed it up on our behalf.
On your behalf.
That's different.
Yes.
You know, we probably could get away with not telling Kelsey and Valen that our paths went anywhere. And we the whole time travel thing. It's like, oh no, and we escaped. And we're just here to save you.
I mean, unnecessary bluff checks.
Maybe it just doesn't come up.
We can cross that bridge.
We'll cross that bridge
when we come to it.
Okay, let's get started. Months after his betrayal and disappearance, Charles Smoot and Finavir Avir finally found John-Xavier. Claiming that all his actions were for the best outcome of those involved, John seemed to garner some sympathy with our party. Not much. Some.
He still has the most punchable face.
The most punchable face,
but
John-Xavier.
Garnered enough sympathy that I don't punch him right now.
So, though he remains on thin ice in certain ways, they've decided to give him another chance of sorts. A chance to prove himself as a rescuer. But with the night growing late and their meeting with John drawing to a close, they will need to find a place to lay low for the time being. Until he brings word to you, at least. So, you have left out from the BEG, and you are heading back, late at night, to where, gentlemen?
The only place that I know that likes us, is on our side, is Franny's. However, I do also know that I will be visiting here sometime in the future. So I feel like the best course of action would be to go to the general vicinity and stake out the area, and then go there after the other me leaves. So Smoot, what suggests this to Finn?
When we spoke with John, he mentioned that he would send word to us at Franny's Tavern. So I feel like the best thing to do would probably be to seek lodging there, as she is probably our only other known ally in the city.
Aren't you going there later?
Other me will be there eventually. So for the time being, we should probably just stake out the location, and we can go seek lodging when the other me leaves.
Well, how about this? You say this. However, the time of night at which you are traveling seems to be pretty late. You traversing from the northern district into east district into south district is going to take a little bit of time. But timing yourself and yourself.
Smoot Prime.
Trying to time yourself with your origin character's presence is difficult. So why don't we make a few rolls?
Let's do it.
To let chance decide.
Isn't that why we use dice in the first place?
It is. So, for me, go ahead and give me a survival. Because you're trying to time things using your knowledge of stars, whatever that may be, even though you're a biology teacher. So let's do that. Give me a survival check.
He was a biology teacher so that he could eventually become a park ranger because he loved the great outdoors.
So did you study astrology? Is that what you're saying?
He's a Taurus.
All I'm saying is Charles Smoot has an 18 on his survival check.
Oh, yes. Okay, so why don't you both roll a perception check for me as well, then?
Let's go. Well, I got a 16.
Oh, 34 for Charles Smoot.
Wonderful. That's a very nice roll that you have
the
there.
Highest we can get. I'm glad we got that out of the way for the important things like perception checks.
So, yes, Charles Smoot, you and Finavir maneuver your way through the city. Thankfully, due to the paperwork that you have, it makes it a little easier for you to move through these checkpoints. However, your names are being documented each time that you go through, which is mildly unfortunate. But you get to the South District, making your way towards Franny's Tavern. And as you are enclosing on the area, Finavir is just enjoying the environment around. But Charles, as you are beginning to get closer, you hear the familiar sound of your own voice.
No one knows it as good as I do.
Finavir doesn't notice this, continuing to walk forward as you are getting close to the building, which you can actually see in view just up ahead, and you see your own silhouette along with Sir Raphaeus outside of Franny's Tavern.
I quickly grab Finavir by the collar of his cloak and pull him to the nearest alleyway.
Sounds like you're trying to hide. So please, both of you roll your stealth.
25 for Charles Smoot.
24 for Finavir.
Okay. So, Charles Smoot, I also need you to roll your perception as the origin character.
31.
Pulling Finavir into this alleyway, trying to hide behind some crates and peering over them, trying to just get a little bit of a view. You do manage to have Finavir knock into some boxes, and you also shift these crates a little bit. And Charles, I need you to roll will save.
My second best save, because my reflex is really bad. 24 for Charles Smoot's will.
Oh, yes. Charles Smoot, you become sickened one, as all of a sudden your head begins to pound as this new memory of something startling you at this moment in time forms in your head, and you see yourself in your mind turning and looking in the direction of where the sound comes from. You don't see anything, though, and your origin self looks back towards Franny, hurrying to get back inside, closing the door, and this new memory then fades.
Oh, God, vertigo.
Congratulations, you've experienced your first cognitive disjunction.
Is that what they call it?
Charles Smoot stumbles somewhat and braces himself up against the nearby building, but still keeps an eye on the tavern.
All right, Finn, well, hunker down for a bit if I recall correctly. I'll probably be in there for like an hour or so.
Are you okay? You seem a little extra nettled.
Yeah, thoroughly nettled. Yeah. It's just, we didn't, you know how the Far Traveler warned us to not cross paths with ourselves?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we did yet.
I definitely just saw me, but old me saw new me.
What?
Yeah.
Then maybe we should get some distance? Why do we need to scope the place out anyway?
I just want to be near. I guess we can go somewhere else for like the next couple of hours. We could try and find another inn, but I don't know of anywhere else around here, and it's a little late to be asking people for advice, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a little late.
You see as Cerulean is standing outside of Franny's Tavern and Teas. He seems to sniff the air all of a sudden, pulling his harness in your direction.
How far away are we from Franny's right now?
You are about 60-ish feet away.
Oh, okay. So I very thoroughly saw Smoot enter the building by this point?
Yes.
Okay. I'll wait like a minute longer to make sure that he went down into the secret underground compartment and is currently having the meeting. But then eventually Charles Smoot would just like pop up. Look at Cerulean.
Cerulean, stay.
Okay, roll a handle animal. Or your nature for a handle animal.
23 for Charles Smoot.
Cerulean just looks at your direction. He just stands there staring at you. He seems to acknowledge in the way that elks acknowledge.
Very good.
Charles Smoot will just sit back down in the cover of this alleyway.
Maybe we should get some distance before you get all woozy and knock these crates over proper.
I'm feeling better.
Feeling better?
Well, I mean, an improvement from like 2 minutes ago, yeah.
Well, I know better than to argue with a brick wall.
Well, we can go around like the corner, but I figured maybe that's a good idea.
So Charles Smoot will, at the behest of Finavir, we'll go a little bit deeper in the alleyway and kind of like slump down for a little bit. Maybe throw my cloak over my hood to thoroughly cover me and obscure my identity from any would-be passersby, such as myself.
I think Finn would take some time to try to experiment with these feelings he's had, his lost connection. So he'd probably find, the corner of the room to mess with, and he would be gesturing out like he was back in the tunnels. And this time. This time.
Finn, what are you doing?
He's kind of snapping his fingers, trying again and again and again.
What part of low-profile stakeout do you not understand?
We're in a corner. I mean, who's going to go investigate someone snapping their fingers anyway? Plus, I didn't hear anyone.
Probably like the super authoritarian Red Guard?
I feel like I'm close. Just give me a minute. That's it.
What, you finally lost your last brain cell?
No, look. And he casts light, and there's just a little glowy light.
You see like this ripple of the light waving a little bit.
Now's not the time for this.
Now's the exact time to be doing this.
And how did you figure?
For the last few months, I haven't been able to do anything besides throw things across the room and clean shirts. My magic has waned paper thin, and I think I finally found my connection back to it.
I didn't know you were experiencing MFD. I mean, it happens to 1 in every 4 men.
I don't even think 1 in 4 men can utilize magic.
I mean, fair enough, but you never told anyone.
You never asked.
Wait, hold on. Does Finavir understand MFD?
No, he's pretending to.
Okay, so roll a bluff.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. 25.
Charles Smoot, you can tell 100% that Finavir has this blank, doe-eyed stare looking at you, and he just seems to nod.
Well, whatever you've been going through, I'm glad to have you back then.
Glad to have you back, Smoot.
Now, how long does your hoopla?
I don't know.
You stuck like this forever?
Oh, I mean, that would be great. I mean, for a while.
I feel like it would be like,
maybe
great for like the first day, right?
Certainly would help us now.
And time begins to pass by.
All right, that's about as long as I can hold out.
More time passes.
Longer than most men.
I need the joke to be finalized.
We've been over this. Most men can't do this.
So it's longer than most.
Then you're correct. Thank you, Smoot. Excellent observation.
If it lasted longer than 4 hours, we would have had to. That's what I was waiting for.
Listen, I don't know these things. Consult a wizard.
Consult a wizard if your MDF lasts longer than 4. Wait, dang it.
Wait, no. I mean, or you probably would.
Consult a wizard.
Yeah, if your magic dysfunction?
Your magic dysfunction lasts more than 4 hours. But also, if it works and lasts for more than 4 hours, you should also consult a wizard.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay. That was a public announcement. Continuing on, more time passes until finally the door on Franny's Tavern opens up once again. And you see yourself step out onto the street, followed by Seraphius, a serious look on both of their faces. Yourself seems to take hold of the reins of Cerulean. Seraphius goes over and takes some of the items off of the back of your elk and hands them off to Franny. And then the two of them begin to walk off into the night, passing by your alleyway, and you hear them having a brief discussion, and you know exactly where that leads to Charles. But now, they're out of sight, out of mind, and Mrs. Potts' Tavern and Teas is in front of you, though it seems that the small candlelight that was on in there is starting to be moved back upstairs.
All right, it's now or never. I don't really want to, inconvenience her again once she's settled, so let's discreetly make our way over there.
Right. So Charles Smoot would continue to stealth, moving at half speed, wary of where Smoot Prime may be, but still nonetheless begin going towards Franny's Tavern and Tea. Kind of torn between keeping an eye on where the original Smoot is going and where he himself is walking. Charles Smoot's constantly looking back and forth and kind of stumbles over his own feet a little. 13 total for Charles Smoot's stealth.
That's amazing. Is Finn just walking? You stealthing? What's going on? You see as Charles gets into this low prowling stance as he walks towards Mrs. Potts' Tavern and Teas with some theme music going.
Finn would also be trying to keep a low profile, and he's vibing Smoot's theme music with a 27.
You make it over to the door, and you knock on it. And you hear his footsteps stop, turn around, and begin, trotting down the stairs rather quickly, opening the door. What is it now? Seraphius and...
Me went that way.
Oh, yes, you're back now. I thought...
No. I just watched the both of them walk that way. I know you just put a fresh kettle on and we just had tea and a conversation, but maybe either another kettle or we both just go to bed and we talk about it in the morning.
I'm sorry. What is going on here?
It looks like we're leaning more towards the kettle than the going
come
to bed.
inside, please.
And Charles Smoot will eagerly walk in.
Right. Charles, I'm aware that you have a situation going on. I'm surprised to see you here, Finavir. I thought you were going to be at the church.
They've taken me to the church.
Right. Oh.
I believe you get there this evening, right?
Yes. They will be taking me there this evening. We're in transit as we speak.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Right. Should we start from the beginning?
I'd rather you not. I don't think I have the energy to stand for this right now. She kind of sits down in a chair.
Okay, so sleep and then in the morning it is.
I'm sorry. Did you two hit your head? Perhaps you do need a rest and maybe, William, please keep him situated at least into the basement if we're going to be harboring the fugitives today.
Much appreciated, Franny. I promise. We'll explain everything in the morning.
Right. And you see as William comes over carrying a tray, which he kind of just shrugs, puts it back on the table, goes over to the secret door, opens it.
This way, please.
And I follow after. Yep.
And you are led into this cellar style of room. I don't know if, Finavir, I don't think you were there for that explanation. So the room that you're taken to, it looks like part of it is a cellar. And then there's a part of it that was connected to it at one point. It looks like it's caved in a little bit. But you can see what appears to be the remnants of a bed on the other side of the collapsed part. But in this area, there does seem to be one cot and an extra bedroll and a table down here as well.
Get yourselves situated. See you in the morning, I guess.
Thanks. Appreciate it, William.
Yeah.
He goes back up the stairs.
All right, Finn. I don't know about you, but I'm thoroughly beat.
Ben's already, like, half out.
Smoot will just crash on the bed while on the floor.
Okay. And you sleep. The next day comes. You hear as the tavern, Mrs. Potts seems to be moving around upstairs, the heavy clanking footsteps of William. You kind of hear muffled voices, and it sounds like the crates upstairs are kind of moving around again until the door opens. All right, you two. Come on up here. Get yourself some breakfast before I have to open up.
Head on up.
Righto.
So you head upstairs. It appears that the small restaurant is currently closed. You're up relatively bright and early. You can see that William has the kettle on and is placing out some teacups, and it looks like he's using that centerpiece on his chest to heat food, as if in an oven.
Right.
Franny is currently sitting at a table with a relatively large mug filled with a steaming hot beverage.
So, I promised an explanation.
That you did.
The best way to explain it. There was an anomaly that occurred. Both Finavir and I had near-death experiences. And in so doing...
Well, of course you did. You were sort of fighting the Toda from what you told me.
No, not that. In the future. It's all very confusing.
Yes, it is.
When the anomaly occurred, we split into two fragments of ourselves. We seem to have been reset a short time, about 2 weeks from when we died. From my understanding, we will continue to exist in this limbo until our other halves fulfill the trajectory that has already been destined for them.
Until we die again. Or other selves.
Divines bless us. What on this hallowed earth are you talking about? I'm sorry, this is a bit beyond me. This is some sort of secret thing, I'm assuming.
Yeah, you could absolutely say that.
Absolutely,
For sure.
Right, I see. I'm here as a mere mortal woman, just dealing with regular things, not with all of this. I'm running a shop, you know. Oh dear.
Make no mistake. We are all mere mortals.
And you do a fine job, if you don't mind me saying.
Oh, phenomenal establishment, I gotta say. It's been my favorite place in Taisha. Can't say that I've been to many, but of them, this is the best.
Did you find John like I asked you to?
That we did.
Yeah. We, specifically, not our original selves. We were unsuccessful in doing so previously, but...
I don't need all that information. I'm only asking, did you find John, and what did he say?
He's willing to help.
Wonderful! When? He's such a hard-headed man sometimes.
Well, thankfully, John does speak the language of violence very well, and I can be a very threatening individual. He offered to help us within the next couple of days. 2 of our compatriots are still held captive at the Colosseum. He offered to assist us in breaking them out.
Right.
I don't know how that correlates with any plans that the rebellion may have. I do understand that there was going to be a standardized prison break of a number of the rebels. Perhaps we could help each other.
Right. But weren't you informing me that... She looks towards you, Finavir, very slowly and pointedly. Somebody found a key and tried to break out and increase security in the area. Has that been resolved?
Oh, no, that still definitely happened.
Oh, all right. That certainly has slowed us down a bit.
Are you aware of any strict timeline any of the rebels may be on?
Well, honestly, with the execution that happened yesterday, we are very fortunate that you stepped in. You see, for the most part, executions occur on the weekends, and we generally try to rescue whoever survives, if we can.
Now that you mention it, I was able to speak with Lord Eden, and she mentioned something quite interesting.
Lord Eden, I don't know the name.
She is the guardian of Lamb's Respite.
Ah, so a seeker. A powerful one, then.
Indeed. When I last spoke with her, she mentioned something along the lines of they wouldn't kill them because they can't. Do you know what she may have meant by that? Is there something taboo about executing prisoners of war?
I don't bloody well know what that means. For all I know, there could be a code of sorts. I know that some of the Order Knights tend to have very strict codes to which they adhere. When did you have this discussion with her? I'm sorry, this whole seeker business is very confusing to a woman like me.
We'll just say recently.
All right. The only thing I could think is that perhaps it means that they have to go through a trial of sorts and be sentenced by the king. So, the Order Knight cannot execute anyone within reason, as far as I'm aware, without the explicit order of the king, especially if someone is of high importance. Though for members of the rebellion of the lower sort, they tend to leave some exceptions.
Fair enough. So, our people may be safe, but there's no guarantee that yours will. The only reason why I mention patience in our timing is that we have under good authority that in about, what would you say, a week and a half, that both the Order Knight Revenant and the Order Queen will be leaving the city.
The Order Queen, you say? And Order Knight Revenant specifically leave Tyja, you're saying?
Well, when I eventually personally invite him to go to Wolf's Lodge after having opened the vault, yes, he is enticed to come. That means two very powerful people will not be in the city to thwart us.
Here's my question to you. Who is this Order Queen that you're talking about?
Finn, you interacted with her quite closely, if I understand.
Right, she can change her appearance, and she is frighteningly powerful. So, what's there to say?
What do you mean she can change her appearance?
Like magic voodoo stuff.
Probably some form of seeker technology. Or magic.
And she could move metal with her mind.
I love that Charles Smoot's like going full conspiracy theorist appearance.
And then Finn.
I'm just being honest. I understand it's a lot of information. I, too, have had to digest a lot within the past, 72 hours.
She has looked two different ways the way I met her.
She seems surprisingly uninformed of this individual, despite being someone that is of a rebellion against this monarchy of sorts.
Well,
the important part is that two very powerful people will be leaving the city in a week and a half's time.
Right. I don't know, though, if our people have that long.
Well, perhaps then we can break out what rebels we can and do something more advantageous with the opportunity.
Perhaps. I don't want to keep you locked up all day in my basement quarters, however. Perhaps you make your way over into the slums. Spend some time there. You could, if you need supplies, resupply with some of our members. And all of a sudden, there's a knock at the door. And Franny kind of gets up from the seat, looks at you two, and just kind of gestures towards the hidden stairway.
All right, stealth of that direction.
No one should be looking for us if we're already captured.
Are you certain of that?
We can still be discreet.
If you'd like to sit, you can.
Charles Smoot will find a table and a chair kind of facing away from the entrance and put his hood up, but so he can still be in earshot.
Oh, yeah, so you get to be the mysterious stranger.
Yeah,
with
I'm
the
the cloaked figure in the tavern.
Yeah, there you go. What does Finavir do then?
Someone's less likely to approach us if we're together having casual conversation.
He'll sit with Smoot, and he's got an idea if things look like they're going to go sour really quick.
Sure. Right. She goes over to the door and opens it. And as she does, this figure kind of like rushes past her, walking in.
We need warm beverages.
Yeah, you see as William's just like pouring like beverage after beverage on your table.
More ale.
His stealth is not, his bluff is not very good. He should keep pouring it. And this person turns towards you guys, and Franny shuts the door. Didn't think I'd see you this early. Honestly, it's been a long time. John?
Charles turns around. I didn't think I'd see you this early.
You see, as the person you're addressing does not look like John at all. It looks like a young woman, but the height is probably about the same as John, but it looks like a young woman with long hair. Hey. Well, oh, sorry. This is part of the disguise. Kind of like takes out a melon from underneath of his clothing, places it on the table.
Well, you certainly fooled me.
He looks at you guys. Well, early enough, but I have some news, fortunately for us. He comes over, sits down. William, coffee, please.
He's been pouring 8 cups every 3 minutes.
It's all just hot water. There's no tea in it because he just panicked. It's just regular water. He looks down at all the water that's on the table, and you hear the robot sigh. He picks up all the cups.
See, the robot doesn't like him.
No one likes John.
Says that in very hushed tones.
And you see as John sits down, it's almost like the hair begins to shrink back, changing back into its regular color. His facial structure returns back into normal. Ugh, works like a charm, but feels weird. So, how was your sleep?
Welcomed.
More alive than ever.
Glad you're there. So, got word from one of my contacts. Looks like Revenant will be off the grounds of the Coliseum today. Apparently called up into the administration district for some sort of meeting. They'll probably be gone all day. They go for a while. And he looks over at Franny. And seeing that you've got a few individuals we need to get out, today might just be the day we take action. But if I'm getting out these other individuals, know what I said, you might get in the way, but if Revenant's not there, it's not as much of a risk.
It's good to hear. I'd love to be able to help in any way I could.
You'll probably want to disguise yourselves. Franny, is that alchemist lady still working for you guys, or is she... And he kind of draws his hand across his neck. She's just fine. She's still going. You'd have to find her in East District, though. She's been hiding out. She's going to be in one of the locations. I don't know exactly which one, but you could go and ask her if she can supply you with a few more of those potions of hers. He looks back at you. We have a relatively capable alchemist within the rebellion. Makes a pretty mean elixir. Can adjust your appearance a little bit, just so you're not exactly yourself.
She's not going to make me look like a woman, is she?
Oh no, that's from my relic.
Fairly convincing. Is it always the same target?
For me? Yeah.
Would you mind if I took a look at it for just a moment?
Rather you not. He kind of pulls his arm away.
Gives me an idea.
We could probably get this mission started later this evening. Make your way over to East District. Hang out in the slums. Find the alchemist lady. I'll give you a area that she could be located in. There's a small underhand market. It's not a black market. It's just the,
Underhand market.
Well, the items there are strongly frowned upon by the Red Guard, but they can't really stop what's going on there. Too many people covering for each other. They might patrol the streets, but can't control all the people.
Did I miss something? Does this mystery woman have a name?
I call her Barbara. That's not her name, though. She doesn't give anyone her name.
Does she have a description?
Relatively crazy-looking lady. Kinda old, kinda not. I'm not even joking. I don't know how else to explain.
So I'm looking for a crazy, underhanded alchemist named Barbara.
I'm telling you. When you look at her, you can't tell how old she is half the time. I think it's from whatever potions and elixirs she makes up.
All good. I just needed something to go off of.
John gives you a very brief description around the time that he's expecting things to go off and informs you that while you won't be working directly together, you'll be coordinating your infiltration. He'll be taking a very small number of individuals from the rebellion in to ensure that people that he happens to be rescuing from their side are well enough to move. Since after all, from the execution incidents, very few of them survived, and many of them were severely injured and may need assistance getting carried out. I trust that you guys can take care of yourselves and your ilk.
You get us in. Either we're all coming out, or none of us are.
Right. Thanks, William.
See ya, punk.
Kind of walks away. For the most part, security still is about the same as it always is on the outside. There's a patrol that goes around about every 10 minutes. 2 guards. Not much action happens there, so they don't pay too much attention. Moving through the checkpoints might be a bit of a pain. The people that I get will have to lay low for a relatively long time before I can move them out of the city. I don't know what your plans are from there, but if you disguise yourselves, get some fake paperwork of some sort, get through the gates, nobody will know you're there, at least in the districts.
And how do you suppose we get fake paperwork? Is that something we can buy at this underhand market?
Certainly, but you're going to want to get it after you get your potions from her, since what she gives you is going to change your appearance. The description has to match.
For how long?
It's very brief, but it's a very limited selection.
Oh. Okay, so I can have like 3 potions, but all of those potions will turn me into the same thing.
If that's what you buy. You will have to give her money.
I have 17 silver to my name.
I spent all of my money on, what was her name? Angela? Evangeline?
I do have one thing that I've been hesitant to bring up, and he'll slip the thing that he's been keeping under his wrist. He kept one of the pearls that we got, because we had one left over. I'm sure this could be exchanged, but we may need it for a bribe on the way out.
There is an alternate route, though I don't know what of an idea it is. Maybe I shouldn't even suggest it.
Charles, don't look at me. I don't want to ask if you don't want to tell.
I'm just a man of a lot of ideas.
All right, so you want me to ask, what is your idea?
Well, I'm just spitballing here. Well, okay, so first thing first, eventually, I do end up finding the key to activate the gate at Wolf's Lodge. But I don't necessarily know if I want to cross paths with myself.
Where are you going with this, Charles?
So maybe that's not the best idea. I do, however, have another idea. Finn and I previously came from the west, going down the coastline after having chartered a vessel, which went through multiple Red Guard checkpoints, and we had to bribe our way through.
All right. So you're talking about what's going to happen after you get the rescue mission
Yes.
done. All right, all
What
right.
we do with our people.
I'm sorry. I was still on the you have to pay Barbara, Agatha.
That's fine.
I don't know. I feel like Agatha really is her name.
Agatha.
Agatha.
That's
yeah.
not the point. We'll get the potions so that we can sneak into the Colosseum, and we'll break them out. But once we do, leaving the city is probably going to be on our very immediate to-do list. With that said, John, what do you think of the idea of, instead of going west by the coast, we went east to New Eden and Tiger's Den? It's a secret base. They have a gate. We could maybe utilize it to travel up to Lamb's Respite Lickety Split. Cut a 6-month journey into a 2-month journey.
I haven't been there in a very long time, but I do know that there's no vessels chartered from Taija that go there. There's sort of the whole region is sort of at odds with Red Kingdom, so there are no vessels that charter from here to there. But if you reach one of the villages on the outskirts, there might be someone who can. Unless you have a very friendly vessel captain who's willing to take you from here, but they generally have their own routes to take.
I do know a boatsman, but I'm not sure how deep of water he travels.
Good for you, Charles. I'm glad you know some people.
See, I can make friends, John. Believe it or not, even with my abrasive personality, people occasionally find it endearing. I'm like their grumpy uncle that they once knew.
Up to you what you do after that. My suggestion is buy a few potions from Hagatha.
I did have another thought.
You seem to have a lot of those today.
I do a lot of thinking. It's one of the things that you get really good at with age.
See, normally Finavir is the one with a lot of thoughts. But he bottles them up. You can just see it.
John, last night it seemed like you were the one with a lot of thoughts. That's not the point.
Oh, this is quite catty. I'll get more tea.
It's actually, it's good.
I mentioned to Franny that we know quite definitively that in about a week and a half, both Order Knight Revenant and the Order Queen will be out of the capital. I just felt like that's important information if one is planning a rebellion or an escape and wanted to maybe make use of said information. It seems like a very opportunistic. I don't know what you could do with it, but I just figured I'd share.
I mean, it's great information for Franny and them. I can't do anything with that right now.
Certainly. I didn't know how affiliated with the rebels you were, or if there were any, key targets to take out. I don't know how this whole thing works. The most I've read of rebellions is history books.
Right now, we're just trying to survive and get the people that have been wrongly accused of things out. So, it's a perfect opportunity. However, we're trying to prevent the execution of these individuals. And as John said, today would be the day to get them out, since Revenant is not going to be at the place where they're being held. Redguard are somewhat competent, but they're less competent when their leader isn't present.
All right, well, I guess these matters are for a later time and a later date. We have our marching orders, Finn. We've got to look for one Bethesda in the underhand markets of the East.
Right. So with nothing better to do, we'll make our way over there.
Did you want any of your things before you left, or are you just going to leave it here for the time being? I can keep it safe for you.
What kind of things?
The things that you left on your elk, gentlemen.
I took my elk and most of my things.
All of the other things that belong to your party are here. From the GM, just letting you know, technically Finavir's stuff is here. For most of your stuff that you did, because you didn't take all of it. However, there are still laws and rules and regulations. She's just letting you know that your items are here. If you wanted them to be here, they're here. If you want them somewhere else, you'll have to take them.
Yeah, the most devastating thing to lose would be the Seeker pendants, but we're not going to leave Cerulean behind.
Cerulean's already gone. I took him. There aren't two Ceruleans, there are two Smoots.
Hey, what are you going to do about Cerulean?
I'll go and get him.
You're going to go all the way up to Wolf's Lodge again and then go down to New Eden?
We got to rescue family.
Yeah, he's part of the family.
You should have kidnapped him last night. Could you imagine?
How would Smoot have gotten... I guess he could have still gotten down the cliff, but...
That sounds like other Smoot's problem.
That sounds... Well, okay, listen. But there was a good, growing moment for Cerulean where he got to be with older elk and learn the ways.
Whatever you say.
My headcanon is that we are going to sneak into Wolf's Lodge and abscond with the things we need from there before going to Tiger's Den.
That's not what you suggested, though.
What do you mean?
Your suggestion was going straight to New Eden and then to Tiger's Den.
I suppose, but...
It's whatever you want. Just make sure that's clear what you guys are planning to do and make sure that everyone's on the same page.
Well, I'm sure before we leave, I will definitely make sure, because we're going to have to tell Kelsey and Valen anyways.
Sure.
To the markets. If we don't have coin, maybe we can get some along the way.
Okay. John seems to activate his device again. And you see as his hair grows once again, and you see that his facial structure takes on a more feminine appearance. Then he kind of grabs the melons and shoves them back in his clothing, adjusts slightly. All right, guys. See ya later.
I
Stop looking at me like that.
I hope not.
I hope she turns you into a woman too.
And away we go.
That's what you get for buying an identity that was on sale.
Well, he has to fit in with the busty exotic girls when he's sneaking out.
Yeah, I guess that makes enough sense. That's what the melons are for.
That's what the melons are for. And he can choose whichever size.
It's whatever's in the market that day.
Some days it's plums. Other days it's grapefruits.
Yeah, the higher up guard. They're like,
girl, they keep changing sizes.
I can tell you one thing about John. He loves fruit. He won't go a day without it. It's like he likes the fruit more than he likes the alcohol and the women. It's more consistent.
So, you guys go out and you begin walking through the streets, making your way over towards East District. You get up to the gate and you go through. They seem to mark that you've passed through here. And you head towards East District slums, following some of the directions that you were given by John and Franny. And you make your way until you finally come across a group of structures that seem to almost indicate an old marketplace. And going through there, you find Bethesda, Barbara, Agatha, Christine, whatever her name is.
We find her.
You find her, and it is exactly as John describes. You cannot tell how old this woman is. Her face seems to kind of like shift ages occasionally as she's looking at you, but her voice sounds haggard and old. But she shows you her wares.
What can I get you, boys? You seem to be looking for something in particular. What about you, boy with the long hair?
Trying to remember, she's supposed to get us disguises, get into the prison, but not get out of the city, right?
John said she has some sort of potion or whatnot that can maybe help you change your appearance temporarily. So what she has currently at the front of her shop, there's antidote of a moderate type, there's arsenic, a cheetah's elixir, a fake blood pack, a healing potion lesser, something called the infiltrator's elixir, the silver tongue mutagen, moderate type, a basic face mask, a thieves toolkit, infiltrator type, a hand mirror with a decorated frame, and an infiltrator's accessory.
Has anyone read the description for a basic face mask?
Yes, I did.
While wearing the mask, you gain a +1 item bonus on any initial saving throws to avoid contracting airborne diseases, such as choking death or tuberculosis.
Those are diseases, Quentin. I don't know what your problem is.
Yeah, I really don't want to catch choking to death.
Choking to death is a pretty bad disease, man.
Finavir, you're a merchant. Why don't you roll your merchant skill?
He is merchant lore. Ooh.
Let's go. 12.
These prices are completely reasonable to you.
That's great news.
Honestly, these could be on sale.
Oh, I love sales.
Do you have any replacement picks? And he'll show his thieves tool kit.
Oh dear. No, I have a full thieves toolkit, however. If that's what you're looking to replace, I do not have replacement picks. I'm so sorry. Supplies are somewhat limited right now, as you can see.
And you kind of like look around and you see that most of the stalls are empty. And there are very few people in this area selling anything. But there are people selling things, but this is the woman you were told to find.
At the very least.
Are you looking for something special? Maybe for a lover, perhaps, that you're trying to get out of a certain situation?
She kind of like pulls out another potion. She places it on the table.
This is false death.
Excuse me, what?
Would you like poison instead?
She starts like digging through her things.
I can see you're a man who has a vengeance against someone, a vendetta that needs to be completed. Hold on, I think I have just the thing.
She starts digging through like potions and throwing them against the wall. Some of them explode a little bit.
Oh, that was acid.
Unfortunately, I don't think poison would kill him.
She just pops her head back up. She looks like a small child for a moment, fading back into an older woman.
Arsenic, technically, it really does the trick. You just gotta feed it to them slowly over time, whittle away their health. Bring them down to your level.
Poison is a weapon used by women, eunuchs.
You're
prefer
quoting
some-
Game of Thrones, you asshole.
I prefer something a little bit more intimate.
Like this infiltrator's accessory, she kind of like pops at the handle, and you see as she pulls out like a sword cane.
It's like it was made for you.
For me, I'd look like a pompous douche with that.
And you're not already?
I am, but I don't want to look like one. Fane, that's more your speed.
Cane? I mean, it's rather attractive, but
See, you're already in love with it. I'm sure you already have a name.
I think I'm fine with daggers. At least on my budget.
Well, if you're not buying, I'm not selling.
She kind of puts the cane back down and holds it in her hand.
At the very least, we'll be taking your infiltrator's elixirs. As many as you can part with.
I have 5 currently prepared.
How much would all of it be?
They're 7 silver apiece, my dear.
Then we'll take that. Probably the false death. And I know about you, Finn, I don't have any antidotes on me, so might not be a bad thing to just have a spare of just in case.
I always have spare antidotes.
Are you going to be mad at me if I tell you that I have this as a spell?
What is
But I
a spell?
also think we should still get it.
What is a spell?
An upgraded version of the Infiltrator's Elixir.
You
What
do
spell?
not. What spell do you have that is that?
Well, it can't be a specific person like the Infiltrator's Elixir is tied to a specific person, but it lasts longer than 10 minutes.
What spell do you have?
Jaden, I looked over your character sheet. I didn't see
He has
you had-
illusory disguise.
Okay.
Which lasts for an hour.
You create an illusion that causes the target to appear as another creature with the same body shape and roughly the same similar height and weight.
Within 6 inches. And within 50 pounds.
Yeah.
But it's just vaguely somebody else.
Well, remember, there is a difference when you're casting the spell, because that's using your first rank spell slots.
Oh. And as much as
Yeah.
I can do it on someone else, it does take the concentrate action, so only one of us gets it. So we absolutely do need the elixirs.
So,
The GM thought of these things.
Now, are all of these of the same person? How do I know who I'm going to turn into?
You don't. That's the beauty of it.
We need to be able to discreetly get past a checkpoint with paperwork made of an appearance that is not ours. Which means we need to be able to guarantee that when we imbibe one of your elixirs, that we know what we will turn into.
You will take the shape of another human. Similar to yourself, but not quite. Just different enough. A change in the nose, a change in the size of your lips. Perhaps your skin color. It depends. It's all a roll of the dice sometimes. Honestly, I don't know whose skin flakes I put in. I don't know whose. I don't know what you'll turn into. I didn't label them.
look at the label on mine. The one I'm currently holding.
It looks like a little poison symbol, and then when you flick it up, it's a llama.
I don't like either of this. These icons do not instill me with the greatest amount of confidence.
Finn will buy one of the elixirs.
Fine. I'll pull out my book of donations.
And she pulls out a book, and you see as she opens it up, there seems to be like little packets.
Give me some time and I can make you something more specific if you would like.
It would be much appreciated.
Right. Would you like toe fungus?
I don't think that's...
It would just be the appearance of toe fungus.
Well, I'm glad that I wouldn't actually be getting toe fungus, but I also don't think that's entirely relevant, as I generally wear boots when I cross checkpoints.
All right, Greg, we're just going to turn the page on you. See, nobody wants you. All right.
So tell me what you would like your character to look like. She has a book of people, of really poor, like crude drawings, but like there's shades of skin tones made with colored paint, and just very brief descriptions.
Charles Smoot would like an individual who is somewhat shorter, slightly younger, and slightly darker skin, as Charles Smoot stands out on the front that he is like 6'7" and also old, and most people aren't tall and old in this world.
Sure. Okay. So, certainly. She makes you an elixir that looks like a younger man that is bald, lean, but muscular, and has a scar that goes across his chest.
Thank you very much. I'll probably take 2 of these.
All right. That's 14 silver, dear.
And then, I don't care what it looks like, but I'm going to need 2 potions that are also of the same individual.
Just 2?
An additional 2, yes.
2 additional? That's it? 4?
We only had 5.
6? I'm here making potions now for you.
Oh, wow, that's pretty great. Okay, yeah, 4 more, but 2 different people, a man and a woman.
A man and a woman?
Yes.
All right.
Who are very platonic and have no relation to one another whatsoever and no interest in each other.
That's very specific. Like, that can't be brother and sister?
No.
Like,
Well, actually, no, that might be good. That might deter them.
Charles Smith's trying to interfere in love life right now.
I'm trying to avoid shipping.
Listen, other people who can shipping ships. It's not my job.
All right. She gives you 2 potions of undescript description.
Beautiful. Okay, so I bought then 6 of them, so 6 times 7 would be 42.
Finavir.
I subtracted.
Well, what are you asking her for? Are you just letting her give you fate's role of your appearance?
Oh, can he possibly try to haggle? Like, is there like any lesser desirable potions, and he can try to haggle for unused stock?
do you want Greg? He's got toe fungus. I mean, listen, Greg is not the best looking guy, but he will catch eyes, just not the ones you want. I mean, unless you want eyes in that way.
I mean, if Greg was 5 silver, Greg sounds amazing with toe fungus.
My boy, do you understand? This market is essentially closed. We have almost nil in supplies. Honestly, the fact that I'm using this much supply on you is making me feel that I need to increase prices.
You could attempt to haggle.
31?
I can give you 1, Greg, for 5 silver.
Excellent. 1 Greg it is. Thank you so much.
You only want 1? Your friend bought 2 of everything. And
I
a
do
false
give-
death.
I do give good patronage.
You did buy a false death potion.
Correct, yeah. How much was that?
It's 30 silver.
Okay, I'll subtract it.
You sure you don't want fake blood?
She kind of squeezes the fake blood pack, and you see like a little squirt of it kind of like fly out and hit a wall. Drips down the wall.
It seems appropriately dramatic for you. Who knows? It could come in handy.
It's 1 silver. It won't coagulate.
1 silver? I mean, it
1
feels
silver
like
and 2 copper.
it'd be a shame if we didn't buy it. I don't know what to use it for, but yeah, I'll take it.
It's part of the false death package. Really, if you want to make it seem like you've died, you like hit that pack against yourself, let the blood splatter all over, and then you put on a performance of death, and it's great. I've done it a few times. Gave my husband a heart attack. He's no longer with us. Anyway, so
Wonder she knows how arsenic works.
All right, I think I have everything balanced out. All right, so if you have the false death, you should hold the blood pack.
Then you hold on to the false death. I didn't have a particular plan for it, but if we're trying to get people to escape, having a dead or injured individual who appears as if they are dying could be beneficial.
And now your potion will make you look like Greg. A man with curling hair, a slightly receding hairline, a spot in the back of his head that's kind of getting a little bit bald as he ages. He likes to wear plaid sometimes. You receive your elixirs from Bertha, Bermuda Triangle.
We know it's not Brunhilde.
It's not Brunhilde. No, she can't be Brunhilde.
She can't?
Wait, she could be.
Oh.
We don't know. We'll never know. You receive your elixirs from this woman, and you sort of find a place to hang out in the slums as time passes until it arrives to the aforementioned hour when John indicated it would be time to infiltrate the Colosseum. But that is an adventure we'll have to have next week on the next episode of the Gate Chronicles. Thank you so much, Foundlings, for joining us for this week's episode of the Gate Chronicles. We're so glad that you joined us, as always. And we want to give a big thank you and shout out to our patrons, Jason Lillis and Stephen Howland, for supporting our podcast. We're so grateful for you. We also want to thank Michael Ghelfi and Monument Studios for providing the music and ambiance in today's session. Thank you! And if you guys want to learn more about us, hang out with us, chat, join us in our Discord. We would love to have you, and we love to talk about the podcast and stuff. That's it from me. All right. So I guess we'll see you next week on another episode of the Gate Chronicles as we go in and infiltrate the Coliseum once again and rescue our friends.
We're bringing the fam back.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.